All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're going to tear down a script made for kids, one about building a simple baking soda rocket. Now you might be thinking, why? Well, because hidden inside this super high-energy, foam-filled guide is a seriously brilliant formula for communication, one that you can pretty much apply to anything.
Right from the get-go, the script wastes zero time. It just opens with this, pure, unfiltered energy. See, it's not just an instruction, it's an invitation to an event. That immediate hook sets the entire tone. This is a mission, not a boring old lesson.
And that really is the million-dollar question for us today, isn't it? This whole thing isn't just about mixing some stuff from your pantry. It's about alchemy. It's about turning totally mundane household items into the key components of an epic adventure. So we're going to break down exactly how the script's language and structure actually pull that off.
So here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 6 key parts. We'll kick things off with the script's core mission. Then we'll look at its killer narrative hooks, see how it makes instructions feel like an adventure, break down how it simplifies the science, then how it builds a community, and finally we'll get to the big takeaway, the incredible power of narrative.
First up, the engagement mission. You can tell right away from the script's production notes what the real goal is here. This is not about calmly teaching a science project. No way. It's about creating a memorable, super high-energy experience.
I mean, just look at this blueprint. It shows you how intentional every single choice is. The audience, the visuals, the hyped-up audio, it's all engineered for maximum effect. But the most powerful part? It's the identity it creates. The script flat out says the goal is to make the viewer a rocket rebel on an explosive mission. That framing, right there, is everything.
So how does it build that identity? Well, it uses its most powerful tool, the narrative hook. And it all comes down to a simple but brilliant act of reframing, turning the totally mundane into something magical.
And this just illustrates the technique perfectly. Check this out. Baking soda isn't just baking soda. No, it's solid fuel. Vinegar becomes liquid liftoff. Even a tiny scrap of tissue paper gets a cool upgrade to a fuse delay. Just by renaming these things, the script immediately lights up your imagination and gets you invested in a story, not just a set of steps.
So if the ingredients are part of a story, it only makes sense that the instructions are too. This script doesn't just hand you a boring checklist, it actually structures the steps like a thrilling narrative, a real launch sequence. And here's the recipe for how it does that. First, it keeps that reframing going. Load the fuel. Then, it creates a little suspense with some insider lingo, like calling something a pro delay hack. It uses these awesome action-packed verbs, snap lid tight, that just create this sense of urgency. And finally, it gamifies the whole experience, turning it into a competition, reload for races. Who's highest? It's brilliant.
Okay, but this is a science experiment, right? So it has to explain the why. But staying true to its style, the script doesn't treat the science like a lecture. It treats it like the explosive finale to the whole story. Just look at how it frames the core chemical reaction. It's not about acids and bases creating carbon dioxide. It's about creating fizz power. That term is so simple, so memorable, and it perfectly captures the feeling of the reaction without getting you bogged down in a bunch of scientific jargon.
Okay, this is my absolute favorite example. It takes one of the most fundamental laws of physics, Newton's third law, and translates it into pure story. Pressure builds till pop. That's the action. Blast the rocket up. There's your equal and opposite reaction. It is a perfect, intuitive explanation that a 6-year-old can get in a heartbeat.
And then the entire scientific explanation is wrapped up with this one perfect, punchy tagline. It's fun, it's memorable, and it totally reinforces the main idea. Science is an adventure. It's not just a fact, it's a thrill ride.
So, the launch is over. The science is explained. You think we're done, right? Nope, not even close. The final phase of this script is all about strategy. It's designed to extend the engagement and turn a one-time viewer into a long-term fan.
I mean, just look at this list. The script doesn't just say, hey, like and subscribe. It gives you a whole series of new missions. Film your launch. Comment on how far it went. You can even earn a shout-out. It's a whole system of participation that leads to a brand new identity. You're not just a viewer anymore. You're a rocket ranger. So after breaking this whole thing down piece by piece, what's the secret formula we were looking for? What's the real lesson we can pull from this incredibly effective piece of communication? It really all comes down to this. The magic of this script isn't the information it gives you. You could find that in any textbook.
The magic is the narrative framework it builds around that information. And that's the formula right there. It's about wrapping facts in a compelling story. It's what transforms someone from being just a passive observer, a learner, into an active participant in an actual adventure.
And that kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. You know, whether you're trying to explain a business plan, a complex scientific idea, or even just teaching your kid how to do something new, what's the story you could tell to make it not just understood, but truly unforgettable?